Hey explorers, this episode was brought to you by Anchor.fm. It's the distribution service that we use to get this podcast to you. And to be honest, it's great. It's free. There's tons of creation tools that let you edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. They upload it to everything, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and tons of others. You can even make money with no minimum listenership. So it's got everything you need in just one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Upgrades for guns and stuff, they put them like right in the fucking way.
Oh no.
Good morning or afternoon,
Wherever you are in the world, welcome to Rules is Written, the D&D podcast where we teach you some rules and we learn them together. Sometimes we're learning new rules.
That happens.
All right, so I think we've got a short episode for you guys today. We're talking about short rests and long rests.
Yes, that's the long and short of it.
Hey. So let's jump in. What we got first?
So, resting in general, it's just like when you're not adventuring and you have to go sleepy time.
Yeah, it's a rest.
Short rest, you don't have to actually sleep. In the rules as written, you can do things like, it says nothing more strenuous than eating, drinking, reading, and tending to wounds. So interpret that how you want, I guess.
So I guess things you can do is stuff like casting, cure wounds and things, as well as the flavorful ways, obviously hit dice.
Can you use spells in a short rest?
Don't see why not.
Okay, as long as it
Maybe your
doesn't,
DM would want a level cap. Maybe you can only use 3rd level or lower spells. I think cure wounds is fine. It's no more strenuous than tending to wounds, right?
Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as it's like not...
But the main way to do it is hit dice, isn't it?
Yeah.
What are hit dice, JT?
Hit dice is something that you get an amount of according to your level, and the dice themselves will be according to your class.
Yeah.
So there's a separate section where we can go through your hit dice specifics, but you roll your hit dice to regain health and add your constitution modifier.
You have as many hit dice as your level.
Yes.
So the higher you are, the more you can heal, basically.
Yeah, and I feel like that's something that is often forgotten about. I guess it depends on the kind of campaign that you're running.
I think, because we play quite a role-play heavy campaign, so there isn't too much combat. And
if you go into like a dungeon, I feel like dungeon
if you're crawling
crawlers
through
would be,
dungeons and
you know,
stuff, then it's like you've really got to pace out your short rests and things. But yeah, it's definitely something, a new resource to look after.
Yeah.
Your like meta health.
And since short rests can be as low as an hour long, it seems like that could be a really useful thing for like a mid-adventure.
Yeah, it's also, I think, a fantastic opportunity to roleplay.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the role-playing game.
Sometimes we care about other characters.
But yeah, it's a fantastic opportunity to roleplay things. And really, if you've gone through something strenuous, you can have a quick short rest. Like, there's been a climactic point in the story. You can take a moment and in-game talk about everything that's happened.
Your bard can play their terrible flute.
Exactly.
And pretend like it's good with their high roll.
And everyone has to agree. What else can you do in a short rest?
That's everything in the rules as written. I know that if you have a magic item that requires attunement...
Yeah, not all magic items require attunement, but the ones that do, you need to spend a short rest.
Okay.
Focusing only on that item.
Yeah, and then that will reveal its secrets.
Like a creepy uncle.
Oh no, no, take that out. Edit that.
At a Christmas party.
No.
Yeah, so short rests are pretty straightforward. They're a good way to flex some creative muscles with your role playing. And also there's a lot of times through the rules, there'll be speckled little time sinks. Things like copying spells into your spell book for wizards. For a wizard.
A murder of wizards.
What is a collective of wizards called? A wazzle of wizards.
A condescension of wizards.
That's a good one. I like that. But yeah, there's a few things. Like, you could spend short rests like working on learning a new language.
Oh, that's
that could
interesting.
also be one if you've got like a language book.
Okay.
Orcish for dummies.
Yeah, okay. I guess, is there a separate section that we'll go through about learning
I think
proficiencies
we're
and
gonna
skills
do
and things like that?
a whole episode or 5 on downtime activities.
Yeah.
But yeah, a short rest is a good place to put some of these that a lot of people don't really think of. Because as we'll get to in a second, long rests don't necessarily have as much free time as short rests.
Which is a good segue into long rests.
All right, and long rests.
So a long rest, it needs to encompass at least 8 hours total. In the rules as written, 6 hours of these need to be sleep, and 2 hours
That's not healthy.
can be, it's fine, Toby.
6 hours?
Toby,
After
Gary
a long day?
Gygax told me I only need 6 hours of sleep.
Yeah, 6 hours seems way short.
So 6 hours is all you need,
All right.
as is told by D&D. And then 2 hours can be light activity.
What's light activity?
It seems as though it's the same as with short rest, but they add a section for like keeping watch.
Oh,
I assume
okay. I think that's a really important thing. Because players are at their most weakest when they are resting. Thus, the DM can be the most fuckiest when players are resting.
I think the scariest things happen when nothing happens, right? Like when you do like a watch, right, and you roll like your perception checks, like we've talked about before.
Well, you're meant to do them against passive perception, really.
Oh, right.
But I like to make you guys
Sweat.
because it makes
it makes you sweat. Because then if you're like. Especially if we've rolled low, like I feel like sometimes it doesn't turn into anything because I feel like you just had nothing planned, but you make us roll anyway.
Yeah.
And then we roll quite low, and then you're like, your watch passes with nothing happening.
You got to create that sense of foreboding.
And you're like, well, shit.
Yeah, keeping watch is a good place to create encounters. Obviously, you can't overdo them because if something's happening every watch, then players just start sleeping only in settlements or just digging a hole half a mile down. We'll long rest here for the night and we'll walk 2 hours tomorrow and get work on the next hole.
Yeah, we'll need our bomb shelter first. Also, during a long rest, you regain all of your hit dice and you regain all of your health, and it seems like
it's a reset. It basically reset all your thingy stats, all your expendable stats. So that's pretty much the function. Essentially, a long rest is your reset between adventures, and a short rest is your try and replenish some health. Some classes can replenish spell slots. Wizards have some abilities. Sorcerers definitely can.
Yeah, there are many variants on like how these are used. And I think that these are very important to flag as like keywords that you read whenever you have a spell or a class feature.
Yeah, which is why we've got a whole episode on it. Despite this being a very short episode, these are such important things to be aware of, that it's short and long rest, and how like the economy of how they're used is an important thing to be aware of, I think.
So is there any room to change the time it takes to do short or long rests in the rules?
There's a few actual variants in the Dungeon Master's Guide. I think you've got them if you open up the Dungeon Masters. It's like page 267.
Here it is. Found
Perfect!
And thus ends our scripted segment.
So, the first variant is the anime variant. What's it called, JT?
Epic heroism.
Oh, not when I'm drinking water, please.
So, in the DMG, it revises the rules to have 5 minutes for your short rest and 1 hour for your long rest.
So it's really built so you can go toe-to-toe with giant creatures.
Yeah, just go boom and counter, boom and counter, boom and counter,
But not
quick rest.
But not just boom and counter, it's like boom and counter, quick rest, boom and counter, quick rest. So you can fire off your 7th level, 8th level spell slots.
And not feel bad about it.
Yeah, it is a real feels good campaign, if that's what you're into.
Yeah, and then the other one is the Revenant. So they recommend in the DMG that you should allow spellcasters to restore expended spell slots equal to only half of their maximum spell slots.
Yeah, even wizards realizes that this is OP as fuck.
Yeah, because I guess at a certain point you realize that if there is no limitation to the spells that you can cast.
If you're casting a wish every encounter.
I wish I win.
Well, I mean. Yeah, so that is definitely the anime variant.
Yeah.
Huge big battles, Gundam, mecha, fighting kaiju.
Yeah,
It's
so
all over the place.
rejigger your soundtracks to match the vibe.
Exactly. Yeah, it can be super fun. I don't think I could play it for a very long time though. I feel like at one point it becomes a bit, not meaningless, but a bit.
It would be pretty hard to deal with as a DM, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like that might be something fun to try for a one-shot.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You could do a really cool one shot of like you're invading Mount Celestia as an evil, like, I don't know, sorcerer or warlock. And you've just been super pumped with dark drugs.
You're just so jacked on fucking...
And you're just fucking level 9 and shit, left, right, and center. Breathe for a minute, breathe for a minute.
Yeah, listening
would
to
be-
only metal music the entire time.
Yeah, it's just Slayer constantly going. Yeah, that could be a super, super cool 1, 2, 3 shot. I could see that. What's the other one?
So the antithesis of this one is like the Revenant version. It's called Gritty Realism. And this one is like Epic Heroism in
But
that it's
not.
nothing like Epic Heroism. It takes 8 hours for your short rest
Christ.
and 7 days for your long rest. Yeah, a week of resting.
That's, how would you even balance that in like a practical game?
So I
Like,
think
would you
that
just-
this would kind of encourage you to do much less fighting in general. Like
Yeah.
it would just encourage your players to have to go into like more non-combat situations to get plot and
Yeah, that would be
supplies
really cool.
and things like that.
I think it really makes you mindful, obviously, of your spell slots and your health.
Yeah.
Like, your health is a huge thing. I think you'd really have to build the story around it, though. Because I feel like a 7-day rest, that's only something that you would fast forward through when they're in a settlement or something. So you'd have to build a campaign where their settlements are a bit more sparse, or they have reasons to be out of settlements for a long time.
Yeah, I'm wondering, because obviously they're not sleeping for 7 days. So
You don't know that. Elves are only sleeping for 3.5.
So I guess like you might have to also kind of figure out what you can and can't do during this time.
Yeah, I think there's definitely going to be some session 0 type stuff to work out what's acceptable.
What's not clear is if you spend 4 days of resting and then you boom encounter, do you reset your whole
I think you do.
rest
And like
start
it
from
says 7
scratch?
days uninterrupted. I mean, short rest rules are you need 6 hours uninterrupted, it says.
Not even that. It's 8 hours. If you get interrupted, then you've got to restart it. If you get interrupted by an hour of strenuous activity. So if you spend 1/8 of your rest not resting, which is just under a day, I guess, if your rest is 7 days long, you got to restart it.
So I guess that would mean 1 day of strenuous activity though, right?
Yeah.
I guess if you're trying to like scale that to this spectrum.
Yeah. So if you just need to, if you get in a bar fight, I think that's fine. Like, if you go carousing and get in a bar fight, then you're right.
Yeah. I guess that's the only way to make this feasible. Otherwise, your players will hate you.
Yeah, that'll be. I mean, to be honest, you're going to be fast forwarding through it. I imagine. I think it's just more to really stretch out your resources when it matters, not so much to take up more time when you're resting.
Yeah, that's an interesting one to me.
It's pretty cool. We might have to give it a go.
Oh no.
I'm the DM. I decide.
The rules have changed.
So that's all we have for today.
Yeah, that's everything.
It's a short one.
Yeah.
But a
Little
good
mini encounter
episode.
over here.
Hey. All right. So see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, stay beautiful out there.